Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Friday night murderthon. Uh, to start off with, I've got something of breaking news coming out of Fort Lauderdale. There was a motion filed by the defense to have Field McConnell move to Plum City, Wisconsin, and remain under house arrest. Also, other documents go over a complaint that was made by attorney Kim Picazio uh, back during a situation that occurred prior to Field McConnell's arrest. And this has been kind of circulating around from time to time on various social media areas, and it's finally wound up in the court. And I'm going to have some other information come up as I go through everything tonight. Oops, I went to the wrong. I'm trying to get set up here. Now, getting to the McConnell case, I'm not going to put the documents on here because the software won't let me do it at the moment. But what's come up in the court docket is we've got a defense motion to modify conditions of bond. We have a 25-page defense exhibit, and we have another 2-page defense exhibit. These were all filed yesterday, and that was brought to my attention that this paperwork was on the docket, and I went in and a little bit early and found them. Now, going in order, we have file states supplemental discovery, which I believe is a document by the state noting that there is discovery been filed. And this is the gist of what came in. Comes now the state of Florida by and through the undersigned assistant state attorney and pursuant to provisions of Rule 3.220, parentheses B, parentheses 1, parentheses A of the Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure as supplement to the state's previous submissions, parentheses, of discovery herein submits the following attachments or divisions. And this basically says that they are submitting discovery to the court. This is required information as a rule, from what I understand. And this was filed 18th of August. Now, why this is coming up on the current docket, I may have... Okay, that was my mistake. Okay, I jumped a line. That was old news. This is filed yesterday. And this is a discovery filing that was made, I believe, by the defense. And this is a February 13th, 2020 letter that was written to Law Enforcement Center in Ellsworth, Wisconsin. This was a formal complaint against Kim Lowry Picazio, sorry about that, for filing false police reports. Now, this has been reported widely, I should say, throughout social media. Basically, Denise McConnell is claiming that Kim filed a false police report. And get into some soap opera stuff here. I'm not sure why this is relevant to the case, but as discovery goes, this stuff comes in. And it goes on, and basically this is going down to where a report was made to the Pierce County Sheriff's Department. Pierce County Sheriff's Department was dispatched, and so on and so forth. And basically, this is the kind of stuff that's going to come in. This is called, they're basically wanting to impeach Kim Picazio. So this kind of, and this Another document filed by the defense is a 25-page long document. I'm not going to go through all of this. Anybody that wants to read this stuff, it's over on the court docket, and I'm sure the conspiracy nuts are going to be all over this. Let's see, this is filed. I'm trying to go down through and figure out why. Okay, apparently... Okay, this is resubmitting the April 30th stuff. I'm not understanding why this is coming up under the 10th. I'm going to have to get... This is resubmitting the... I'm not sure. This is dated 12/10, but it's the hearing transcript from... okay, this... Yeah, I'm a little confused because this is the defense paperwork, but it's the hearing that was held on the 10th. I'm going to have to study this more closely. But what's interesting is what comes up in the defense motion to have Phil McConnell return to Plum City. And it goes down through the charges. Maybe that's the reason for it. I don't know. But I'm going down through this trying to figure all this out. Apparently they're using this police report filed by Phil McConnell's wife as a basis for some kind of defense, saying that it was, you know, I'm not sure why this is relevant, but, you know, this is the way these courts work. Okay, apparently there's some... They're arguing that he's been physically separated from his wife for 13 months. Their communication has only been by telephone on a limited basis. More importantly, there have been recent developments regarding the health of defendant's family members, which have caused the defendant and his wife to suffer serious and emotional stress and trauma, which necessitate the requested pretrial services and electronic supervision, transfer, and relocation. In an effort to protect the defendant's family privacy rights, the undersigned counsel would request permission to submit all supporting medical information and documentation by email to this court and the prosecutor, and would request that the medical information not be disseminated to anyone outside the undersigned prosecutor, ASA Lily Wong, in this court. Undersigned counsel has contacted and discussed Field's potential pretrial services relocation to Wisconsin with House Arrest Services, the company that has been electronically monitoring the defendant in Stuart, Florida since his release from custody on March 11th. House Arrest Services has confirmed that they can electronically monitor Field in the same manner and with identical monitoring equipment in Wisconsin as they have been monitoring him while in Stuart, Florida. Undersigned counsel previously provided the contact name and telephone number for House Arrest Services to ASA Michael Spear for confirmation and verification. If allowed to relocate to his home in Wisconsin pending trial, the defendant, Field McConnell, would be subject to the same reporting requirements and conditions presently in effect. He would be restricted to his home in Wisconsin and would only be allowed to leave if prior permission for medical, religious, or other legitimate verified purposes granted by pretrial services and house arrest services. Additionally, all telephone, email, and internet restrictions and additional conditions of release previously imposed and modified by this court will remain in place with full force and effect. Contrary to Mrs. Picassio's prior false and misleading representations to the court and anticipated misrepresentation in the future, Field McConnell has fully complied with all the imposed and extremely restrictive conditions for 9 months. Moreover, Field McConnell does not pose any danger to this or any other community and is not at risk of flight and will be fully supervised and electronically monitored at his home in Wisconsin in the same manner he has been supervised and monitored in Florida. Not surprisingly, when undersigned counsel recently advised ASA Spear of his intention to prepare and filed the instant motion and request a pretrial supervision relocation from Florida to Wisconsin, Mrs. Picassio not only objected, but provided additional false and misleading information to ASA Spear to purportedly support her objection. Specifically, Mrs. Picassio falsely advised ASA Spear that Field McConnell has a broadcast studio and broadcasting equipment in his Wisconsin residence, and that is where he previously broadcast and will continue to broadcast if allowed to relocate to Wisconsin. As undersigned counsel advised ASA Spear, and as can be fully documented, Field McConnell does not and never did have a broadcast studio and broadcasting equipment in his Wisconsin residence and never broadcasted in any manner whatsoever from his Wisconsin residence. Prior to his November 4, 2019 arrest in Wisconsin for this charge, the defendant, Field McConnell, rented a small office building located at 401 Main Street, Plum City, Wisconsin. This building was sold while the defendant was incarcerated in Wisconsin, and the defendant's wife and family friend, with very little advance notice, were able to remove all his personal belongings from his office before the building sale closed. Based on the foregoing, defendant Field McConnell would submit a relocation of his Broward County pre-trial supervision and house arrest services electronic monitoring from Stuart, Florida to Plum City, Wisconsin during the pendency of the instant proceedings is warranted and appropriate basis on the facts and circumstances submitted and discussed above. Wherefore, and by any reason foregoing, the defendant, Field McConnell, respectfully requests that his honorable court grant the instant motion and enter an appropriate order modifying certain bond release conditions previously imposed on the above referenced case, and specifically transferring, relocating his Broward County pretrial release supervision and house arrest services electronic monitoring from Stuart, Florida to Plum City, Wisconsin during the pendency of the instant proceedings based on the reasons, grounds, and arguments advanced therein. And that basically is it. Field McConnell wants to go home. Apparently, Florida's not a nice place to be with his son, his grandson, or grandchild, and his mother or daughter-in-law. So, this is basically Um, the defense is calling Kim Picazio a liar, wants to send Phil McConnell back home, and apparently somebody forgot to tell the defense how you can broadcast from your house, and you don't need a bunch of complicated equipment to do it. All you need is a laptop with a webcam. I guess the defense attorney doesn't do that sort of thing. I don't know what they think Phil McConnell had in that building in Plum City. Uh, you know, and the defense neglected to tell the court that a producer out of Canada actually ran the show for Phil. But we'll see where it goes. But that basically is what is going on with Phil McConnell. There has been no comment by anyone, the parties to the case, on any of this. So we just go from there. No, he's not going to resume broadcasting. They, this is kind of routine things to go through. He is prohibited from broadcasting, period. If he does broadcasting and he gets caught, he goes right back to jail. So I don't think he'd be stupid enough to go back into doing that. Plus, his days are pretty well numbered when it comes to live streaming anyway. Yeah, got to drink up the last of my milk. Well, apparently, he never broadcast out of the house, which, is feasible because the studio, I timed it. It's a 5-minute drive from the studio to his house. Now, the thing that's confusing is, why was Kirk Pendergrass and all these other people at the house? If they weren't broadcasting out of the house, that means that they were driving back and forth to the studio. So there's that. But just me, you mailed money to Mert and he treated you that. What is this about? I haven't even talked to Just Me on here. Fraudbuster, what's going on? I don't understand. Well, L. Kennedy, I guess we're going to have to see where this goes. Now, Phil McConnell's primary broadcast site was the Main Street studio. Now, there were times when he did live stream from the house. But, if the defense wants to argue that he never did, then they can argue it. I don't see where the relevancy here is, because he did make threats against Mrs. Picazio. That is a fact of evidence. There are videos and everything else. So, that's gonna... Okay, I attacked your comments several times this week. Well, I'm going to have disagreements with people on things. I'm passionate about what I believe in and what I comment on, and no, I didn't think that was insulting. I'm going by what the state said about spouse. A spouse is a husband or wife. Now, I don't know how arguing about what is the difference between a wife and a mother in relation to a spouse has to do with any insulting. We're basically debating a point regarding what does define a spouse in the state of Florida. Is a spouse considered a mother, grandmother, or is a spouse a wife? Now, it's a known fact that Chris Hallett and his mother lived in that building. Now, I don't know if I'm correct in assuming this spouse would mean just a wife, or if the state of Florida defines a spouse as a wife, mother, grandmother, and so forth. That's, I don't see how debating a point about a definition is insulting. As for, I think we got into a discussion about who owns the house, and you correctly said who owned the house. I had not checked that information out. No, I don't get it. If you felt insulted by me in any way, shape, or form, I apologize. I'm not out to insult legitimate debate. I'm not a professional at this. So if I insulted you, I'm sorry. That's not, I don't intend to insult genuine people that make genuine points. So I guess, if you feel insulted, there's not anything I can do about it. Now, is this the real Agent 19, or is this someone that is deciding to troll in here? It would seem to me we got more trolls again. I just... Well, I don't think it's the legitimate Agent 19. I'm going to go ahead and block it because, I don't need this kind of childish on here. I'm trying to conduct a live stream here, and I don't need people coming in here and going through this kind of nonsense. Well, Star, I'm not out to insult those who have been loyal to this truth that we try to get out here. Sharpest attack, there was a discussion between us regarding the mother of Chris Hallett, who lived in the duplex, and there was a debate of sorts about whether the spouse was a wife or the mother, and I guess I don't know if I worded it wrong, but it was taken as an insult, which it wasn't meant to be. Just trying to figure out who who that was and how the definition of spouse would come up in a description of who was living in the house. Whispering, yeah, that is a fact, and that can, I'm sure the prosecution can be provided to the prosecution that Field McConnell has done live streams from his house. And this is just, this is a lawyer being a lawyer. They want Field to go home, and so they're going to argue that. And it's going to be up to the court to decide whether or not Field McConnell is going to go home. I'm sure the prosecution's going to study the motion, and they're going to decide if they're going to argue it or, say, okay, send them back to Wisconsin. Excuse me. But it should be noted that the house is in the process of being foreclosed. He may not have a house to go back to. So, we'll have to see. But, and, but that's the extent of the Field McConnell issue, is this one motion. There has been no court date set and so forth. So, Grappler, the house has been foreclosed on. He has lost the house, but people are still there. I'm not sure what the status of the house is as far as the bank taking possession of it. Apparently they must feel that Field would be able to live in the house, which means the bank hasn't taken control of it yet. And part of the reason is the virus. It's kind of put the wrench into what's happening here. The last time I talked to the bank, the house had been formally foreclosed on, but the bank had not taken any further action to put it into a sale or anything like that. Well, if I read the motion properly, whispering, the wife is apparently in the house. If they're saying she's 1,500 miles from Florida, that would put her in Plum City, Wisconsin. It had been thought that she was in England, but maybe she's in the United States. Hallett's mom's spouse was deceased. Okay, well, I said Hallett's mom's spouse was deceased. He was Chris Hallett, dad. You said spouse meant wife, so I sent 2 links defining. Okay, then I either didn't see the links or misread them, and for that I apologize. I think as this moves forward, we're going to find out who was in the house at the time. Now, you are correct on stating who owned the house, because I did my own check of the court records. Because it will be interesting to know who was in the house at the time of the shooting. Now, depending on how loud the shots were, if the mother was in the other side of the duplex, she might not have heard the shots. Okay, that I was not sure of the status of Chris Hallett's father, so that's another question that gets answered. So that, we get into that. Now, changing subjects a little bit, we had a rather curious thing happen today. Let's see if I can find the right slide here. Now, the pathetic turd force made a statement saying that domestic terror network. So I would warn everybody in here right now, we are being defined as a terror network. That the pathetic pile of turd force is calling us a domestic terror network, and that when we exercise our constitutional right to seek information from the courts as defined by the Constitution and the law, we are, in fact, committing domestic terror. And that we are scouring for federal courts and sealed document, namely arrest warrants. Now, just today, I got into a discussion with the court because of this receipt that had been put up by the aforementioned blogger. And the problem is, according to the federal court, now this is the federal court, the last paperwork filed in federal court was in 2018. There is nothing currently on the docket as of November 2nd, 2020 by Chris Hallett or E-Clause. And there are no sealed arrest warrants. Chris Hallett does not have any authority to file arrest warrants. He is not an officer of the law. He is not a cop. Law enforcement and prosecuting attorneys are the only ones that can issue arrest warrants. And the representative from the federal courthouse also said that the receipt is not correct. It is not current, which leads me to the conclusion that the receipt was a forgery. Receipt of paperwork that was filed in a sealed case. How did they get their hands on the receipt, which has never been answered? And what is the basis for these sealed arrest warrants? What are the charges? And where is the follow-up paperwork? In order to file a warrant for arrest, take advantage of the fact that not many people understand how the legal system works in this country. And so they go around just claiming all this stuff out of thin air. And what they've caused now is the federal court is going to take a look at this receipt to find out where the hell it came from. And I don't know if they can do anything with it since it's a forged receipt, other than they probably will turn it over to the Marion County Sheriff's Department as part of their report. Now, I was sent, let me bring up, I can't put this on camera, but I'm going to read it. Somebody sent me a personal message that said that two pieces of information. There is a rumor that the gun used in the murder was Field McConnell's, and only two people had access to it were Kirk and Timothy Holmseth. This is unverified information, and it continues, who both set up Field to take him out. The chickens are coming home to roost. Let's see, and I've been given a link. Okay, this is where it came from. This is, someone put this up on Twitter. Okay, I've got clarification of a trespass warrant that was filed against another blogger. It turned out that he was covering an Occupy event in the state of Florida, and he was arrested, and this meant that he was denied his constitutional rights and was arrested during a protest, which there was a lot of that going on. And there's something else. Cannot wait until federal wire fraud charges will hit you and Timmy. Money was sent to Neely. Who gave the gun to Neely? There's a lot of posts being made by someone by the name of Wild Bill that's rather interesting. People might want to check it out. I'm going to go ahead. This is a guy that's known as Music QAnon. And he makes a lot of interesting posts on there. And excuse me if I'm not paying utility on the house. If that is being paid by the owner of the house, if it was paid by Chris Hallett, or who was paying utilities on the house, that the grifters pay attention to this channel. And I had put up on Twitter that I was going to be discussing the fact that this woman is being accused of witchcraft. And the very blog making the accusation of her being in on witchcraft is one that she would expect to support her in her takeover of E-Clause. This apparently is not the case. Now, this is the post that was put in regarding those of us who have been, yeah, that's Sharon. Those of us who have been searching for verification of the claim of this blog that there are arrest warrants out there for unknown parties. Presumably it's for whoever this domestic terrorism group is. But there are no arrest warrants because there is no paperwork filed. It's another hoax. They forged a document somehow claiming that it's a current receipt, which it's not. And, you know, this is just another example of the fact that these people will lie outright in order to discredit anyone that dares criticize them. Endorsing Randy Davis or Chad Cater, they jump down to the last sentence and says, we have other evidence. I'm not sure. I'm watching the meter here at the production, and the production's going, but I'm getting a lot of buffering, and I don't know why that is. I've got a very high speed connection here, but apparently something is going on at YouTube, and it's hard to get the buffering to quit doing it. I've tried changing the latency, and it doesn't do anything. So I'm just having to fight YouTube when it keeps, you know. Yeah, it keeps buffering. I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what to do about it. Yeah, well, this isn't an election video, so I don't know why they're, you know, the only thing I can figure is maybe they're having a bandwidth issue with their servers, because I've talked to other streamers about this, and they're running into the same problem. There's a constant buffering, and it doesn't. There's people even with a T1 that are having problems getting their live streams. Yeah, this is why I back my stuff up with daily mobile plans, you know, in order to combat this problem. Because I notice I play back occasionally my live streams, and I'm running into this. So, yeah, you know, these people are living in their own little world with this shape-shifting nonsense, but rather than come to this woman's defense, they go and accuse her of witchcraft. And there has been a number of articles that they've written where they accuse this woman possibly of being responsible in part for the death of Chris Hallett. You know, this woman is being set up as the fall woman. You know, people are coming to the defense of Neely Blanchard, and Shannon Tanis is paying the price of it. Well, Phil, take Field in his home, or maybe set up I don't know what Phil will do. I don't know if he's even allowed to have contact with Phil, because he's not supposed to be live streaming it all on the internet. He cannot have contact with anyone outside the family. So I'm not sure how that would work without him violating the terms of his being out on home. Yeah, you're correct, Just Me. The E-Clause company, as it's an LLC, has to go through probate. And unless there is some written agreement somewhere that Shannon has the authority to take over E-Clause, she may be running afoul of the estate. Not that anybody follows the law around this group, but if if the family decides to shut down E-Clause, there's not a thing she can do about it. You know, she can go start her own version of E-Clause, but the family owns the trademark and production rights and everything else to the stream, the website, and so forth, and they will be the ones that are going to decide what happens to E-Clause. They may not want any part of it. They may say, go ahead, take it, and just get out of the house. Um, you know, because that's the thing. You know, she's squatting right now in a house. She has no legal residence there, and she may be forced to leave at some point. Uh, I don't know how long she was even in the house as a basically live-in girlfriend before all this happened. I hadn't been paying that much attention to their living arrangements up there. So that's. Let's see what else have we got here. There's a lot that I didn't put on screen. Now, off screen, uh, Miko came to the attention of this. Well, Golden Mare, now there's a question if that was in his home or not. Now, when I looked inside the office on Plum City, uh, architecturally things didn't quite add up. Uh, the door, if you look at the studio, when Field was live streaming, there's a door to the right of there that when you go in, uh, when people were shuffling back and forth in Field's studio, they were coming through a door. There is no door in that location in the building on either side. It's a duplex building. It's split into two different sides. And Field was renting the right side of the building. The other side of the building was not used. Uh, so, you know, I'm not sure what the situation is. It's just that from looking at the images that I took of the studio and the images of Field McConnell on the show, the architecture does not match up. So I don't know, you know, if he did live stream out of his house or not. If they can come up with proof that he did live stream out of his house, then, you know, that's going to blow the defense's argument out of the water. And the fact of the matter is, you don't need commercial broadcasting equipment to live stream. You know, I've live streamed off a smartphone. You know, I've live streamed off laptop. Anybody that's done any live streaming knows how easy it is. You know, anybody can live stream. It's not rocket science. So, you know, I think that the defense is trying to tell the judge that, you know, Bill McConnell's being accused of running a TV station out of his house. And that's not, you know, nobody's accusing him of that. He's basically live streaming on YouTube out of his house, which would be, you know, 5-year-old kids are doing it, for crying out loud. Well, Golden, there could be a bit of cabin fever there. Now, apparently whatever happened at Stewart is a medical issue. Maybe somebody in the house tested positive for COVID or, got sick or been in an accident. The trouble with HIPAA is you're not going to be able to figure that out. Um, that's one of these things. It's just going to be one of those deals unless somebody, a family source or someone close to the situation in Florida comes out with it. We're not going to know what happened in Stewart. Well, just me, this is one of the reasons that I came up with a theory that there was a feud between Shannon and Neely because both of these women felt that they were fairly close to Chris, and maybe the closeness of Shannon to Chris started some kind of a cat fight, and uh, that's what happened. Well, firemen, the defense in the Field McConnell case has filed a motion to have him transferred to Plum City, and one of the bases in the motion is that there has been some event in the family and they cannot say what it is because of HIPAA, and so they want Field to go back to Plum City, uh, Wisconsin. Um, and so that's, right now, that's basically all we've got. There's no specific information as to why it's necessary for Phil McConnell to leave Florida. Considering that it's colder than snot right now in Wisconsin, I don't know why he'd want to go back up there. It's freezing up there. And the thing that the prosecution can argue is the house is in the process of being foreclosed on. Uh, he could go back to. Uh, okay, I am in the process of reading something that was just sent to me, so bear with me a second. Okay, this is pretty well what I thought. Okay, this is a response to a question I had, and I will take that under advisement. Okay, I was just sent a photograph, um, and it has Field McConnell holding a gun. I'm not sure what kind of gun, but this is clearly in his house and not in the studio. And what I'm going to do is bear with me while I bring this picture into the room. And if the prosecution gets a hold of this, that's not going to look good for Phil McConnell and his lawyer, because this is undeniable truth of the fact that Phil McConnell has live streamed out of his residence. Because now remember, anybody that has seen my video from Plum City, uh, the bank is a one-story building. Now here is Phil McConnell holding a revolver. In the background, you are going to see a set of stairs going up to the right. And you're also going to see to the left some kind of a indented storage cabinet or something like that. And you're going to see windows in the back. The architecture of the building in Plum City does not have any of these features. It's a bank. It's a bank that's been stripped of the bare walls. So, oh yeah, Field has a real lawyer. He's had a real lawyer since he came to Florida. You know, they're not letting Kirk Pendergrass anywhere near this, and they're not letting anybody else near it, as a matter of fact. This lawyer is the primary defense counsel in the case, and the only defense counsel in the case. Okay, thank you for identifying the gun. I am not a gun expert. You know, I got a Glock, and that's the only thing I know. But there is the documentation that the prosecution in Florida would need to show that Field McConnell makes threats using firearms, and that he live streams from his house. This is the point that the prosecution is making and the Kimpakazi is making, that Field McConnell has the capability of going on the internet and live streaming from his house. He does not need a production studio. All he needs is a desktop or laptop, period. So thank you to Laurie for providing that picture, because this is an example of how teamwork works. Well, I would, knowing how things working in Florida, they have all this evidence. I mean, not everything has come out yet. This is going to be a progression, because there's going to be discovery requests made back and forth throughout the period of time before this thing actually goes to trial. So this photograph is going to turn up in the court. So, you know. The son's wife went back to work part-time. Oh, okay. So who's babysitting the child? Unless Field's acting as a babysitter. Well, there's any number of things. There's cabin fever, and, you know, according to the paperwork filed by the defense, there's a medical issue involved. And so that is supposedly why Field McConnell wants to go back home. That there is something that's happened in the house, and he wants to go back home. So, you know, that's... They send him to a school 3 days a week. Okay. Well, that takes care of 3 days a week, but there's after, you know, depending on, you know, what her hours are. You know, I suppose the husband could watch the child, because he's running a business, so he could do it remotely. Considering it's a manufacturing business, so he could probably run the business remotely to some extent, or else, you know, take the kid to the job site or what have you. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not all that complicated. I was a truck driver. I used to take my son places. So that's not, you know, it's something that can be worked out. But I think it's kind of interesting that, yeah, Golden Mare, the house is a duplex. It's a pretty good sized one. And apparently, Chris Hallett lived on the left side of the house as you're looking at the picture, and the mother lived on the other side of the house. And so, based on the size of the house and the architecture, it's quite possible that the mother might not have heard any gunfire if she was in the house. You know, this is so far the only thing we've heard out of the sheriff's department is that Shannon is the only material witness, along with her child, to the murder. That there has been no questioning of the mother or anyone else that's come out so far. Well, that's going to be up to the judge fireman. The fireman is going to, or the judge is going to have to review the paperwork. The consensus I've been told is that the motion is going to be denied because there's sufficient proof, such as this image up here, that he has broadcast from his house. He has broadcast from his house holding a firearm, and that's two strikes against the defense. They're going to have to argue what it is about this gun that would not subject him to being in Florida. One would hope that he's not going back to Wisconsin, and I'm sure that Mrs. Picasio is going to object to the motion. There's going to be a counter argument filed with the court at some point saying this is why we feel that the motion should be denied, and then the judge is going to have to decide. Motions aren't automatic because you file a motion with the court, the judge looks at it, and he either upholds the motion or he denies it, or she in this case, I believe. Well, Shark Billy, everybody knows that Field live streamed from his house. I mean, that's known by everybody. And the picture that I have up here that you're not going to be able to see since you're driving proves it. And there are many, many, many pictures of Field McConnell live streaming from the house. So, then, this fantasy by it's just going to make the attorney look bad when it comes out that Field McConnell has live streamed from his house. There's tons of pictures out there and even videos of Field McConnell live streaming from the house. And all you have to do is compare it to the architecture of the bank, and you're going to know it's not the same building. The bank was a bank. It was basically one big empty room with a safe halfway through it. The only entrance between the two sides of the buildings was where the front door is. There's two front doors identical to each other and so forth. And if I had thought about this, I would have queued up my video of the bank. It's just silly for people to think that Field McConnell only broadcasts from that studio. And as a matter of fact, I think Kirk Pendergrass even admitted that he was in the house. Eventually, this stuff is going to come out. They're not going to take the word of the defense attorney. They're going to, the prosecution's going to come in with their evidence, and the judge is going to take a look at both sides, and the judge will weigh the evidence and decide based on who has the better argument. And, seeing a guy holding a gun up on live stream threatening somebody, I think goes a long way to bolster the prosecution. So, and it's also an opinion that if he does go back to Wisconsin, he will violate the supervision, and he's going to wind up back in Florida anyway. So he's better off staying where he's at. Now, it may be the family that doesn't want him there. Whispering Winds, there's a bunch of people that has the playlist. They were recorded as they occurred. They are on BitChute someplace. Because when it was known that Field McConnell was going to have to take the Field Report and the Children's Crusade off the internet, people were downloading all the YouTube files. So everybody has them. There's at least 20-30 people on both sides that have all of Field's material. Good Vibes is one. So, and and you can be quite sure that the prosecution has every single solitary one of his videos. They were submitted as discovery when this first happened. Whispering, you're correct. That's you know, it's a given in this case that they are going to have um, images, you know, everything from that website and all its social media sites archived. It's all evidence, every bit of it. So, yeah, it's, the feds made a dipshit move here. Uh, Almost as dumb as this Texas lawsuit. So, you know, if he goes back to Wisconsin, he'll violate and he'll be right back where he started. So, you know, if he wants to take that risk, go for it. Yeah, yeah, fireman, the old Doc wants to get his romance going again. Yeah, there's been talk that there were handwritten notes, there was a lot of money in the car, as well as the gun. This is somebody is posting this on Twitter. Now, another subject I'm going to cover here is the discuss and what they came out with in discuss. Now, apparently Miko has a mugshot. I did check, and it turns out that he got arrested in a protest down in South Florida, which a whole bunch of people got involved in. It's no big deal. They basically give you a trespass for that. Uh, and, you know, what's quite notable that this did not come out by the conspiracy nuts. And there was something remarkable here. Now, this is a statement. They say, Mike Wallace operates a YouTube channel that has 31 subscribers. In the 22 days since McAuliffe published his discussion on the Hallett murder, the video has had 881 total views. The numbers prove McAuliffe's channel is almost non-existent and he is almost completely unknown. Well, there's 2 points to make here. First of all, if this is the case, why are they paying attention to this guy? Why is it so important that they do a thorough background check of this guy and accuse him of all kinds of stuff? Now, my channel gets around 185 views per video. I think there's only been twice that I've had videos go over 1,000, maybe more than that. I'd have to check my analytics. And right now, I have 1,004 subscribers. So that means that Discuss is creaming me when it comes to the numbers of subscribers and the number of responses he gets to his videos. You know, he's a much bigger fish in the pond than I am, and yet they accuse me of being part of this big national domestic terror group. So, you kind of wonder, you know, if these people bothered to look at the stuff they put up, because they are accusing me. Essentially, no, nobody funds me at all. This is out of pocket. You know, which is one of the reasons the production quality suffers the way it does, is because I'm operating with what I have on hand. I have a webcam tied to the top of my monitor that I use when I'm on camera. I've got a relatively cheap production software, and that's about it. Yeah, it's probably Randy again, you know, but nobody funds me. I wasn't even aware that this person was in the room. They must have just popped in here. So we got someone else to play around with tonight. But, you know, it's another indication as to why. You'd have to ask Levi Page that. I don't know. You know, I don't care what. Yeah, well, of course, I know that, fireman. That's pretty obvious. It's one of those conspiracy nuts, you know. But I like to play around with them. So far, you know. Yeah, it's the same pattern every night. It's either talking about me or talking about Levi. You know, they're obsessed with Levi. They're jealous of him, and now they're jealous of Discuss. Well, why are you asking about Levi? What does he have to do with this? Um, this is what I'm trying to figure out. What does Levi Page have to do with what we're discussing here? So, and legitimate question. And I'm not. And do you know what the definition of a troll is, by the way? Uh, but the and Nympho, you're actually you're putting yourself in danger in here because according to the PPTF, this is a group of domestic terrorists discussing secret plots, and we're being monitored, and you might be thrown in jail with the rest of us with all these sealed warrants are out there. So you're kind of putting yourself at a big risk being in here. Anyone that's in here in this chat is subject to arrest according to this filing that is being bragged. Yeah, and that's a lie. It's another one of their lies. They do nothing but lie. They lie about Levi, they lie about Alexander Goddard, they lie about me, and now they're lying about Discuss. And you being in here with us, you are now part of the group that has been labeled a domestic terror group by the pitiful turd force. So, I don't know why you're taking the risk coming in here and associating yourself with alleged serial killers and domestic terrorists and Satanists and all this other crap that the conspiracy nuts are putting out there. But, if you want to hang around with alleged domestic terrorists, then welcome. I think it's, kind of weird that, that here a person with 3,000 subscribers is considered a nobody, and I'm somebody with even less than that. I have 1,004. Matter of fact, I'm going to check my current subscriber rate. I have 1,000 something subscribers. See what we got here. Well, I'm going to have to go. See, it says 1K subscribers. That means that I'm so close to 1,000 that I can't even. Okay, I'm hanging in there at 1,004 subscribers. I have not been approved for live streaming mobile yet. I don't know what's holding that up. But, it's weird. These people are supposed to be for fighting child trafficking and all this other stuff, and yet they spend their time fooling around with YouTube channels that only have 1,000 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers or 10 subscribers. I mean, their priorities are upside down. And it's just, I don't get it. Why are we so important to these people that they do this constant harassment? Well, yeah, they're good numbers, but according the task force doesn't seem to think so. I didn't say, that's Miko Hayes, and I did not say he lived in the basement. That is what the task force is saying. The pitiful PUD force is saying that Miko Hayes lives in the basement with his grandmother. And the problem is there are no basements in South Florida. There's a geographical reason for that. It's called a water table. You know, and this is just another one of these fictions that these people put out there. And I'm being harassed because I live in a mobile home. You know, I live in one of the 900,000 mobile homes in the state of Florida. Apparently, there's something wrong with living in a mobile home. And I can't help it that I have to rely on Social Security to get by, but that's just the way things are. Well, he's got bitch shoot, but you know, it's not quantity, it's quality. My only reason for wanting the 1,000 plus viewership is twofold. It's to be able to get into the courts and cover various cases, and it's also to be able to live stream mobile once YouTube decides to allow me to do so. And there's not much I can do until YouTube makes a decision. And that's a good point, Fireman. There has been no proof of life with Timothy Holmeseth. Now, there was, if you remember my previous videos, a discussion about him being in the state of Colorado, and someone by the name of Dr. T promptly shut that down, which means there's still no proof that Tim Holmeseth is alive. Well, essentially, here's the thing. It doesn't matter who is paying Levi's college expenses. Levi would not be the first person that has had someone pay for his college tuition. And I have the same information, and it's really nobody's business. I mean, Levi's graduated college. He's out working. And as far as Randy, her position is not as flamboyant as she makes it out to be. She's a municipal something or other, and it's not really a judge. And for someone that's a judge, she never ever leaves her house. She has been holed up in that house for quite a long time. So at this point, Randy is immaterial. She's just another one of these conspiracy idiots that runs a fake task force. And she's committing all kinds of crimes, allegedly. So, sooner or later, this is going to catch up to her. Because they're violating the law. Oh, I didn't know I was broadcasting with him at the same time. Sorry about that, Randy. Interesting. Well, Timmy's an easy one to own. The guy is such a moron. And the people around him are stupid. I mean, anybody that believes that nonsense that is spewed forth on the high command and the turd force and on that particular blog are idiots. Because it's on its face. It's ridiculous. Alexander Goddard is a woman that is an advocate for truth. She was in a film called Roll Red Roll, where she was responsible for solving the case of a gang rape that occurred in Steubenville, Ohio, a few years back. And she's someone that I know and someone that Kim Bacasio knows for. She's been following true crime social media for years. She does an occasional blog, and she's on various social media accounts. I believe she did. She attended the non-trial because if you remember, Timothy Holmseth didn't show up. Uh, Kim and her went to the trial. Kim was a witness, and Goddard was there, I guess, to support a friend. And Tim didn't bother to show up. He ran away like the sniveling little coward that he is. And he is currently a fugitive from justice. The warrant for his arrest is current. As long as he stays out of the state of Minnesota or doesn't screw up and come to the attention of a law enforcement officer, he is likely not going to be arrested in the near future, at least on the state counts. Now, if some of this federal stuff goes forward, then that's going to be something different. Yeah, she was. She was there with uh, Kirk Pendergrass. The obvious, everybody knows about the video, and no, Kim did not call for anything to happen to Olmsted. That was a lie. And if you look at the video, it's clear. But this is some of there's been a lot of lies that have gone around about that particular video. I've looked at that video at least a dozen times, and I can see no indication of anybody being threatened by Kim Picasio in that video. Fireman, that video is all over the place. I even have a copy of it somewhere. And it doesn't amount to anything. It's just they got into an argument, and, Kurt got into this sovereign citizen crap. And no, Levi Page was not there. It was only Kim Picasio. Let's see, I think Kim Picasio was there. Alexander Goddard was there. I believe Chad Cater said he was there. Tom Morrissey may have been there. And Randy Davis, I believe, was there. And Kirk Pendergrass was there, and of course. He was all over the place. And that idiot from Alaska was also there. But, the video debunks their lies. No, that's not true, Limpo. Levi Page would be allowed in any court. He's mischaracterized by everybody. He would be certainly welcome in court. He's been to a lot of courts, as far as I know. So there'd be no reason for him to be barred for court. This is more false information being put out there. If anybody throws tantrums and has anger issues, it's Tim Holmseth. I can put up at least 2 videos where Tim Holmseth went into a profane tirade. If I am able to, I will be at any trial for Tim Holmseth. I don't know if Bill McConnell will get acquitted or not. That's a jury can go anywhere, because if you look at what happened to Casey Anthony, people thought she wasn't going to quit it, but she did. I think what is likely going to happen in the case of Phil McConnell is he would get time served, and that would be the end of it. He would be permanently barred from mentioning her name, and he would probably be off the internet for the rest of his life. But I can't predict what's going to happen with McConnell because I'm not up enough on the law to know what would happen in his case. It can go either way. We can guess all we want, but at the end of the day, it's the jury. No, I'm not afraid of Levi Page at all. I'm not afraid of anybody. If anybody thinks I'm afraid of Levi Page, they're sadly mistaken. As a matter of fact, Levi Page and I are on good terms right now. Um, so there'd be no problem with Levi Page and me ever meeting, because as far as I know, that may happen someday. There's a lot of bad information coming out of these. Um, well, Laura, there are people that, for whatever strange reason, are obsessed with Levi Page. Levi Page is a very talented uh, social media commentator. He's been on CNN, HLN. Uh, he's had a surprising career. He's very good at podcasting, and so on and so forth. And Tim, Tim is frightened of him, and he's been attacking Levi Page for 12 years. Tim is jealous of Levi. He's afraid of Levi, and uh, they basically want Levi off the air, just like they want me off the air. They're doing anything they can to discredit me. I'm being called a serial killer. Yeah, essentially, they are obsessed with Levi Page. They are terrified of him because Levi Page is very good at what he does. Levi Page is a true investigative reporter, and because of that, the task force is terrified of him, and Timmy is terrified of him. And by the looks of things, Timmy is terrified of me because he's trying to get me off the air. No, that is false, essentially. And you're borderline. This is where I get into troll like behavior because you are posting false information, fake news. Uh, Number one, there's no such thing as Satan. So, anybody that believes in that is just weird. But, there's no satanic literature going to Randy's house. So, unless Randy is sending that literature to herself, because there's accusations that Randy is actually into Satanism. And, okay, essentially now you and Alex can have a conversation. You can ask Alex all the questions you've been asking me. She's right here. You can talk to her. And I'll just sit by and watch it. Go ahead and make the same accusations against her that you've been talking about here. The task force, high command, and Timmy is tacked into a group of extremely gullible people that will believe all this retarded nonsense that they spew out. That's the nature of what they do, and they know that these people are gullible enough to believe this tripe, and so they tap into them. Goddard's problem with Holmes has is probably the same as mine. The guy's a pathological liar. Oh, this is getting interesting right out of the pillbox. Cat fight. God. This is beginning to look like a confession to a murder to Chris Hallett was using for something, and that's been our only contact. Now he claims I sent him a letter, and that's false. But Holmseth is basically a coward. Brian is Randy's husband. No, I didn't go off the air. The stream is buffering, and so it'll cut in and out. It's a problem with YouTube. No, I'm still on the air. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with YouTube. I have a lot of issues when I go on the air with them. So. No. It was reported that Randy was living, or Tim was living with Randy, not with the husband. The husband is not living in the same house as Randy. And there are stories that the children of Randy's refuse to see her and will only talk to the father. Boy, we got a lot of buffering going on tonight. Sorry about that, folks. Well, it essentially, from what I've been able to determine, there was a rumor that Tim Holmseth was spotted in Colorado. The only thing is that a woman we refer to as Dr. T has stated that Tim Holmseth was not in Colorado. And this was the subject of a video I did recently, but it would appear that there is still no verification that Tim Holmseth is alive at this point. He has not been seen on the internet since the end of May, and it may have been even before that. The last verified photograph of Tim Holmseth was at the end of March of this year. And so there's nobody has any idea if Tim Holmseth is alive or dead at this point. No. Actually, you've come in to witness in a very interesting cat fight. I'm kind of letting Alex and this. Well, I don't know if Levi had bad information or if Dr. T had bad information. What I am saying is that there is no confirmation that Tim Holmseth is alive. And, you know, if Levi has proof, that's fine. I don't actually know. Rumors are just that. You know, because there's no facts. You know, people can come up with rumors, and if there's no facts, there's no facts. And right now, there is no verifiable information that Tim Holmseth is alive. So that's that. dig herself a hole. You know, and it's funny, you know, for these people say that I'm a big nothing and this channel has no influence, yet they keep coming in here. No, I'm not battling over the information. I reported that Levi posted that Tim Holmseth was spotted in Colorado. And someone came back and said, "You're a liar. He is not in Colorado." And I'm saying if this is the case, then that means that there is no proof of life and that we can continue to presume. Um, you know, I can only, you know, I can't prove that Levi is right or wrong. He has made a statement. He has resources that I claim. I don't care. Because until there is proof that Tim Holmseth is alive, we have to presume that he is deceased. Because he has completely disappeared from the internet. Well, it's a username. You know, if somebody wants to go around saying they're essentially nympho, I guess it's okay. Well, the nympho, I'll say this: if you feel unwelcome here, you're free to leave. Um, you know, when people come in here and say certain things in here, then you know other people have a right to call them out on it. And this is a pattern that happens every week on this show. People come in here and pretend that they are someone they're not. And, you know, so if you think it's bullying in here, then you're very welcome to leave. You know, I run a very loose format here. There are specific people that are not allowed in here. Task Force is one of them. And so if you're coming in here hiding under another name, then you're basically presenting yourself as a liar. And, you know, I don't welcome supporters of liars in this room. And it's not, I haven't seen any case of bullying yet. I've seen cases of people calling out um, a lack of sincerity on the part of other people, as far as people pretending to be somebody else. As this is, you're either one of two people, or either somebody by the name of Randy, or you're possibly someone that goes by Astro. So there's two possibilities here. But it just seems your line of questioning about Levi Page and some other people have been here has led people to believe uh, one conclusion based on past performances of individuals that have come into this room. And so there's that. Well, I know that, Alex. I'm just playing the game. She's not capable of coming in here and identifying herself as to who she really is. She's too much of a coward. She has me blocked on her Facebook page, so she can say anything about everybody and nobody can read her material. We have to rely on third parties to find out what they're saying about us. She puts up a thing saying that I'm going around to various parts stores trying to find or trying to find out where Chris Hallett works, when all I have to do is read Chris Hallett's own social media. We already know where he works. He works for AutoZone. No big mystery. And there's no point in going to the store where the guy no longer works. It's kind of stupid. And this, all these people do is tell lies about us. And, and then, they say that we're all in here doing some secret meeting about stuff and that we're domestic terrorists because we're running a chat with 26 people in it. It's kind of ridiculous. But, this is the mentality of these people. It's just a sad and demented state of affairs. Well, the thing of it is, Whispering, if, he's lost the lawsuit by default because they didn't answer the lawsuit. Um, so hiding from the lawsuit isn't going to mean a damn thing because by not answering the lawsuit, you lose by default. You can get a default judgment, and Craig Sawyer and the other plaintiffs can proceed with uh, getting injunction relief because they failed to answer the complaint. They basically conceded. So that was a dumb thing to do. But Tim doesn't face anything. He's hiding from a misdemeanor warrant of all things. Uh, yeah, Golden Mare. This is something I don't understand. What is the big deal about me living in a mobile home? I mean, millions of people throughout the United States live in mobile homes. As a matter of fact, Randy Erickson's real estate company had one listed for sale. Um, it's known as manufactured housing. Uh, some, but then again, this is class warfare. She presents herself as this rich real estate broker who's some kind of a judge, and I'm just a poor, uh, grumpy old truck driver that lives in a tin shack in Florida with no air conditioning. Right now it's 46 degrees out, so I don't need air conditioning. But, it's, where is she expecting to live? I'm on Social Security. I can't afford $2,000-3,000 a month in rent to have a nice fancy house. You know, and, this is the thing with people like that. It's class warfare. What about the guy that was living out of his car with all his possessions stuffed in it? And he lived in an apartment that looked like an atomic bomb had gone off in it, and she even admitted that. It's the epitome of hypocrisy. And she wants me to get a job, and yet she goes around calling me a domestic terrorist and all that. Well, Levi, come on in here. We've been talking about you again tonight. Uh, Apparently, I'm supposed to be afraid to meet you for some reason. But we got somebody in here, sensual, whatever the hell her name was, and she's been talking about the usual stuff tonight. Didn't mention any underwear tonight. That's a departure. It's same thing every live stream. These people come in here. It's like a broken record. It's gotta love people. And I got into the paperwork from the court today where the defense says that Field McConnell never broadcast from his house, and yet here we have Field McConnell in a screen capture off a live stream holding a gun in his house. And I've personally been to the bank where Field McConnell's studio was, and there is no fancy staircase or curtains or anything like that. It's a bank. Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm it's been a long week, and I just barely made it on the air tonight, and I just living with my new status of being called a domestic terrorist. That seems to be the latest tirade out of the land of the conspiracy nut. So now this whatever her name is that is vanished was talking about you, this sensual nymphomaniac or whatever the hell she called himself. It's been, Oh, here we go. Essentially, you can ask, oh, I knew underwear was going to come up. I just knew it. We got the underwear out finally. God, that took long enough. You just busted yourself, essentially. Ha, ha, ha. I love it. That's, people, you walked right into that, essentially. You might as well quit the denials. You could spell the guy's name right. God. Yep, the phony task force. Fake task force. Committing crimes. I don't know why. Domestic Terror Network announces they're scouring federal courts. What a lie. So this means the task force does not believe in the Constitution. I was wondering how long it was going to take for the underwear to come up. Every freaking day we have the underwear. You wonder where the underwear went when you brush your teeth with Polident. Funny little jingles used to sing when I was a kid, and it makes absolutely no sense. Okay. Every week we go through this. Well, I knew the minute the username showed up who it was. I mean, it's a stupid game she plays every week. And it just proves that she is terrified of this channel because she comes in here and she does the same thing every week. I mean, God. I mean, these people are not capable of live streaming their own channel. They're over on BitChute because they've been kicked off of YouTube more times than you can count. It's like, it just, I don't get it about that. and how that's actually a win. There's all kinds of stuff. And she comes in here pretending to be somebody else talking about underwear. Weird. And it would have been nice if Nympho, while she was in here, could answer the question about how they managed to get a hold of a receipt on what is supposed to be a closed hearing. I guess we're gonna have to wait until the task force publishes another tweet or account to explain how they were able to get their hands on that receipt, which turns out to be a forgery. Because there hasn't been anything filed by Chris Hallett in the federal court system since 2018. Oops. I don't know why that came up. Pay attention for executive orders. Well, basically, there's nothing going on. And since I'm blocked off her Facebook channel, I can't check that. Well, that fireman, and he was fired from a job as a janitor for the same thing. Actually, you mentioned it. Let's see. Let's go up. Task Force site. Quote, isn't Levi the one that passed out drunk in his underwear? Is that what you mean, Mert? So you mentioned it. Says right there. You broke your pattern of deleting your posts. So, how did you know about that picture? So, you walked right into it, Nimpy. Yeah, but you were very specific what you mentioned. All I said is people discuss men in their underwear, and you were very specific about it, and that's what gave you away. I didn't say anything about the context of the underwear. You did. So that means, and there you go. See, this is the same, the tidy-whitey thing is the same phrase that's used by Astro, and it's also used by Randy. So you're giving yourself away, essentially, so, stop the pretending. And it's the same thing. Yeah, you came in here asking all kinds of questions about Levi. The discussion tonight was not about Levi. And this is what a troll does. They get people off the subject. For some reason, you don't like me discussing the E-Clause murder and all these conspiracy theories that are going around it. The conspiracy like Tim Holmseth now calling, or Tim Holmseth's blog. Well, Levi, I really don't care. I mean, God, talking about what people wear as underwear. It's, that's like the old boxer brief question. For God's sake, and for a complete stranger to come up here and even bring that nonsense up, it's just pathetic. And Nympho, what do you think about the task force accusing this woman of being into witchcraft? The task force is setting Shannon up as being part of the reason that Chris Hallett's dead. That's funny you haven't mentioned that at all as to why the task force believes that this woman is involved in witchcraft and may have had something to do with the murder of Chris Hallett. I'm going to let Levi address that. Again, what is this reason for discussing somebody in their underwear? I don't get it. I really don't. It's really weird. And you're not answering the question, Nympho. Why is the task force accusing Shannon Mutter Tanis of witchcraft? Is the task force setting Shannon Tanis up as a suspect in the murder of Chris Hallett? Can you answer that question? Essentially, Nympho, let's discuss this case. Or is there a reason that you do not want to discuss this case? That's rather curious here. I mean, there's all kinds of questions that I have for the task force, and it does not have anything to do with underwear. And the one person in here who seems to be a mountain of information based on the posts that have been made in here refuses to discuss this subject. Think that it's domestic terrorism to file Freedom of Information Acts about court documents that Chris Hallett was supposed to be filing with the court. I mean, is there some reason why we don't have a constitutional reason to I don't blame you, Levi. It's ridiculous. But again, this Nympho is in here in an area where we have been accused of being a domestic terror network. Now, why is it that you would want to be associated with people quiet about this arrest warrant thing? How did the task force come across a receipt which the federal court is saying is likely a forgery? There is no record of any case, closed or sealed or not, being filed by E-Clause in over 2 years in the Florida courts. Seems kind of an easy thing to find out, yet the federal court can't even find it. And I even went through a national database of federal courts, and the only thing I could come up with is stuff filed in the state of Ohio. Nothing in the state of Florida. So we had the task force and the Tim Holmseth blog posting false information, as they always do. And this is why we're here. It's because we have to keep fighting this constant flow of lies coming out of these people. They lie 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They absolutely, positively refuse to come up with any proof of anything that they state anywhere. Essentially, why are you avoiding my questions? Why do you keep going back to Levi? He is not, you know, he sees the chat log and he's made it clear he's not going to discuss it. Why do you refuse to answer my questions? The subject is not Levi. The subject is not underwear. The subject is the lies and criminal actions of the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force and those people around it, and who may or may not have been responsible for the death of Chris Hallett. Why do you refuse to discuss this subject? Come on. Should be an easy question to answer. Why are you in here in a room where people are accused of being domestic terrorists? You know. Yeah, and that's going to be the next burning question is who killed Timothy Holmseth? Because it does not appear that Tim Holmseth is alive. You know, that was denied by someone we refer to as Dr. T, who is said to have intimate knowledge of the status of Tim Holmseth. And essentially Nympho is not commenting on any of this. Essentially Nympho has gone quiet. Rather curious. I think we lost essentially Nympho. Well, Chris Hallett paid the ultimate price for getting involved in something he never should have gotten involved in the first place. You know, getting involved in domestic situations is a dangerous thing to do. And when you've got a woman fighting for her children and she is incited into believing that someone that she trusted is actually not fighting in her interest, but is actually fighting against her, of course she's going to get mad enough to basically snap and commit a crime of passion and execute the guy. And that's exactly what happened. And all this conspiracy business around this fake contractor is baloney. They are taking people's attention away from the facts. And the fact is that the PPTF and those around it might actually be responsible for the death of Chris Hallett because they got a woman who was highly stressed involved. Well, Mary, he could be fertilizer for the cornfield up there. There's a lot of corn on that property. Acres and acres and acres. No, I did not say that Levi was a liar. I said there is no proof. I said that Dr. T said that Levi Page was a liar. There is a series of conversations that happened on Twitter. Levi posted the rumor that Tim was spotted in Colorado, and Dr. T called him a liar. So if I did not call him a liar. I said I have no proof either way. If Dr. T said that Levi is a liar, then that means that Tim Holmseth is not alive. It's as simple as that. Don't go putting words in my mouth because the recording makes it abundantly clear what I said and how I said it. So you can sit here and make statements, but all anybody has to do is replay this entire stream when it goes on YouTube. It does not get edited. Well, the only problem was sitting while you pee. You got to be careful where you aim. Uh, right now, the foreclosure and the IRS auction is on hold. The house has been legally foreclosed, but it has not gone into the seizure process yet. Uh, and out there, it would not be a stretch if anybody wanted to pose the theory that he was buried on the McConnell estate. So there's that possibility, but have to have evidence. Well, yeah, that's true. Look for dandelions. Oh my God. Well, I guess you got to have diapers. Get them a set of Depends. One has to question whether or not he's alive for the simple fact that he has not been on the air in months. Tim Holmseth is what is known as a cam whore. He loves to be on camera. And the fact that he is not on camera has one questioning whether or not he was ever alive. Oh, a new article just went up. CNN Satanist Alexander Goddard stalked and assassinated congressional defense auditor and a news reporter. Well, well, well. And it's a BitChute video. So we got the music. All they do on that damn BitChute is they play that same song over and over again. You can't even bring it in here because it's copyrighted music. And that's it. That's the extent of the article. Yeah, I just am speechless when it comes to Chad Cater saying that. I mean, for God's sake. I never thought he would go down that road, but I haven't heard the broadcast and that particular statement. Well, that's the question of the hour is where did the gun come from that killed Chris Hallett? Because she legally cannot have a firearm. She's a convicted felon. She's on, basically she's out on bond. She is not supposed to have a firearm. So nobody seems to want to answer the question, where did the gun come from? Essentially, why are you carping about Levi. We are here talking about this man and this gun in a murder case, and all you're interested in is Levi. What is the deal here? That is what a troll is. They come in and they try and knock the room off the topic. Of course he did, essentially. Or, he's done that for 12 years. There's all kinds of stuff that Tim has written about him. He's lied about Levi, he's lied about everybody else. I think that's Shack, not Racked, but... Now, the witness said that the gun used in the execution of Chris Hallett was a revolver. And, is that gun that Field holding a revolver? I don't know. But Field has a collection of guns. That's not the only gun that Field owns. Bye. Well, essentially, I tried to ask you a bunch of questions and you refused to answer them. You're only interested in talking about Levi Page, who is not the subject of this. So go ahead and leave. You're welcome not to come back because you simply cannot stay on topic. So, goodbye, good riddance, don't come back. God. Don't understand these people. They don't know what staying on topic means. They don't know when we're talking about a murder case and we're talking about guns. We're not talking about people in their underwear. For God's sake. Are people that stupid out there? Jesus. Yeah, maybe now we can get back on topic. But, it's just that the video, matter of fact, I'm going to, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to have to keep the audio off because they put copyrighted music on the audio. Gotta love it. Oh, okay. I stand corrected. Racked up means sharing a bed. Okay. 70 years old and I'm still learning things. So, hate it when it does that. This thing automatically goes to video. Well, BitChute doesn't enforce copyrights. Trying to get a copyright strike against BitChute's like pulling teeth. Yeah, it's just the back of the, it's just, I'm not an expert on firearms, so, I couldn't see the hammer in the back, but it's an interesting looking gun, whatever it is. And somebody identified that gun earlier. Okay. These documents are evidence that will lead to the identity of the assassins of Congressional Oversight Defense Contractor Christopher Hallett, but they have published no documents. You know, nothing dated November 2nd. It's old stuff, just like everything that publishes. Old stuff. Now I've got to. Oh, this is the same video. They just wrote a new article with the same video. Because we got Hillary up here with Craig Sawyer, some station out of Tucson, picture of Timmy, picture of his book, picture of a text message. Let's see what else. This is the same frickin' video. He's just repeated it. Anti-Biden picture, another anti-Biden picture, picture of the now dead Homeseth, picture of the White House. Come on. Picture of the Joint Special Operations Command, an overview of the Joint Special Operations Command, of which these people have no affiliation with. Come on, come on, come on. Next slide. You know, picture of Goddard with a bunch of her Twitter posts around her. Picture of the pedophile. Picture of Tim Homeseth. Another picture of Homeseth. I don't know who that is. Picture of Satan. Another picture of Satan. Another picture of Satan. On and on and on. It's the same video. Nothing new. Yeah, it's like I say, you know, there's really nothing there. It's a nothing burger. You know, and this nymphomaniac ran away and refused to answer any of these questions. He's too busy talking about Levi, who wasn't even the subject of tonight's live stream. You know, that's the classic definition of a troll. You disrupt the room and you knock them off subject. And whatever this thing is that is up on BitChute, it's just another. And this is the thing, all these videos, there is nothing live from there's nothing live from him. It's all old stuff. Stuff that you can track back years. Nothing within the last 6 to 10 months. And the eyes have it. I only have eyes for you. La 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 la. I. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll take a quick break here. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, we gotta do the old wipeout. Alright, what's going on here? Yeah, that's my sentiments exactly. Okay, well, let's go back to the front here. That's funny. They put up a half a dozen links, and it's to the same video. It's as if they want people to see the same video over and over again. These people have nothing to work with. Absolutely nothing. They're just recirculating the same nonsense on their BitChute channel. It's not even worth watching. Talk about having nothing. On the blog, that's what the blog does. It just regurgitates the same garbage. There's nothing there. Say, yeah, it's funny. You look at this receipt, and um, the thing I've always been curious about with the receipt is why did they redact something under the amount? There's something fishy about this receipt. It's an altered document. Uh, because if this had been posted with the state of Florida, this is public information. I would be able to get this. Um, So I said, there's something very, very, very fishy about this receipt. And the individual at the court said the same thing. She says the document doesn't look correct. Well, that's correct, Alex. I checked Pacer. I checked another place, and the most recent thing I was able to find in the court was a. Let me go and find it because I got the listing. Is 2018. This is the only thing the court could find, and this is a national. Federal court means all 50 states and our territories, and they have nothing. Yeah, it just. This is the only thing that Chris Hallett has filed uh, in the federal court system. And there's absolutely zero under E-clause. Yeah, so yeah, it's suspect that if this is supposed to be a sealed case and this guy filed it 2 weeks before he was murdered, how did they get that receipt? That would be evidence in a criminal case. They should not have that receipt. That's tampering with evidence. Unrepresented, that means he was pro se. And as expert as these people are with their social media, it would be easy to alter that receipt and um, put it up as a current receipt. That is not the original receipt, it's a photograph. These people are experts at manipulating social media. They've proven it in the past. And the clerk, as much as such this, she said this looks like a forgery. This isn't even the correct format for one of our receipts. So Marion County might be interested in that receipt. They should get a copy of it and ask someone at the Hallett residence, what is it about this document? Is this a reason that he got killed? Maybe the state should look into that receipt to see if there's something going on here. Maybe there's other suspects that should be questioned in the case, such as some people from Minnesota and perhaps someone in Stuart, Florida. They most certainly are, Alex. Well, somebody just threatened the Supreme Court. Yeah, they gave up and going back to their conspiracy theories. Got a dead guy that's threatening the Supreme Court. Even the Trump uh, appointed justices are on their shit list. Yeah, I saw the video that she made about getting kicked off an airplane. I mean, you can't wear a mask for a couple hours. I mean, are you that much of a dipshit? I mean, for God's sake. I mean, apparently she's never worked in an operating room and worn a surgical mask or worked in a hospital wearing a mask, and this is a doctor. Uh, and uh, of course, she's never spray painted a car or ridden a motorcycle in the winter or gone um, BMXing where you wear a mask so you don't get lungs full of dirt and stuff. I mean, yeah, I just, I have issues with anti-maskers. You know, and I know there's people out there that are going to disagree with me on it, but I just don't see the big deal. I mean, this is a woman that people say put a dead dog in a briefcase. I mean, Jesus Christ. Excuse me. Hey, let's see. What help I looked in the right. Kirk's Law Corner Friday, 22 minutes ago. 900 views. God, he does better than I do. I like it how these people that talk about fake law get all these views. I mean, they must be doing something wrong. Um, hey, I guess I, I guess Miko wasn't on tonight. I don't see anything in my subscriptions. Divine Interloper's been doing a lot. Divine Interloper went political. Um, it's too bad, but you know, we all changing format works sometimes. I went political and got my ass handed to me. Yeah, the wackos make the show. Yeah, I get more action when the trolls come in here than if they don't. Oh yeah, he's sitting there showing everybody that he doesn't know his ass in the hole in the ground again. Agent 19 had something on about a bridge. I remember that, seeing uh, stuff about that same bridge. Well, that's it, Levi. The money is in QAnon. If you go around re-spreading all the stuff about QAnon and their mad theories and put up a patron account, you'll make a fortune. It's all in the money. These people will throw money at you if you are a dedicated QAnon. It's amazing. It's just the weirdest thing. If you look at YouTube and the things that people pay to watch, it's incredible. So anybody that thinks they're going to make money on a YouTube, they got to study and realize that truth does not pay. If you want to get people to pay you, you have to lie your teeth off and get involved in conspiracy theories. Uh, get into this conspiracy theory racket, and you'll be rich. Okay. Huh. Well, not gonna do that. Well, it's yeah. People want to give Kirk money for that nonsense. They're free to spend it. I mean, they want to throw their money away. Worship of Golden California's in the streets. 5520. What the heck is he putting up that? Portland Rewind. Yeah, that's what I hear. Um, it wouldn't be the first time that they got into a disagreement. But the two of them have moved on to subjects. I mean, Agent 19 is talking about guns, and I'm not really a gun nut. Not that interested in guns, and I don't know what Monograph has been doing. I haven't been paying attention. I'm surprised. I thought Monograph was going to retire, but and that Northwest Liberty News said he was going to go off the air, and he didn't go off the air. So, everybody says they're going to retire, and then they stay on the air. So that's kind of, don't understand that. But people are going to have disagreements. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I still like the both of them. So it's I had a bit of a feud tonight with someone because I misunderstood what she said, or we misunderstood each other. So and I hope we got that cleared up. But I'm sure the conspiracy nuts will come up with something to talk about. See if anything more happens with the witchcraft theory. Well, the only reason I listened to Northwest Liberty was back when they had the guy that helped Cynthia Absug out on her little sightseeing trip all over the United States. So that was kind of interesting to get his tie into Field McConnell and the rest of this bunch. Oh, Nympho's back. Welcome back. I thought you didn't like us. You said you were insulted and everything else and went away. I guess you couldn't stay away very long. And it's funny, it showed up in the last 10 minutes of my live stream because I'm going to be signing off in about 10 minutes, give or take. But, this show's addicting. And, people say they're not going to come back, and they come right back. Uh, well, that's going to be up to the court. You know, on Cynthia Absug, there's a trial coming up the mid-February. Will not be able to go up and cover that. I just can't afford it. I'm going to call the court and see if I can do FOIAs and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check and see if they're doing Zoom hearings and stuff like that with her case. At any rate, I'm going to follow it. I've got contacts up there that are going to keep me apprised of what's going on. Because that's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that case. She's, there's, that can go either way. In case you are not aware, essentially, Cynthia is out under house arrest. She is not in jail. So, yeah, the other thing I would ask essentially is why didn't you answer any of my questions earlier? Um, I asked a lot of questions. You didn't answer a single one of them. Excuse me. Milk is giving me the hiccups tonight. Yeah, how about this one? They are accusing a witness to a murder of being into witchcraft. I thought that was kind of interesting. Well, and you came back why? If you felt bullied, I don't understand why you came back. And you also didn't answer any questions. I mean, it's if you're going to act like someone that we know is um, a propagandist, then, and you won't stay on topic. You ask questions that have nothing to do with the topic in hand. Well, I bring out and the discovery and so forth as this case goes forward when it comes to this woman. Eventually, there is going to be paper. Why do you keep bringing that subject up? Nympho, this is, you keep going back to the same subject. I'm not interested in the subject. Drop it for God's sake. You're right back doing what you started doing. Now, you've been gone for I don't know how long, and now you come back and you're right on the same subject. You're mentioning it again. Oh, for God's sake. Essentially, you need to grow up. For crying out loud. If you feel you're bullied, don't come in here. And frankly, I wish you wouldn't, because you're stuck on the same subject. I mean, good frickin' grief. We're in here talking about a murder case. We're not in here talking about that subject. Now, we haven't talked about that subject since you left. Now you come back in here and we're right back on it again. All right, you're gone. I've had it. I gave you a chance and you blew it. God damn, what is with these people? Sheesh. Jesus Christ, this person will not go away. I'll do that. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I only put up with that shit for so long. The last 5 minutes of my show, I'm not putting up with it. So this, see how long it takes for her to come back as somebody else. But at midnight, I'm closing this show out. I got things to do before I leave tomorrow. Jesus Christ, these people are something else. Yeah, I absolutely do not get these people. This channel gets maybe 19, 20 people in here a night. I think I've had 30 people at one time on this show. Maybe a little bit higher than that, but that's it. And yet this idiot has to come in here and cause all this trouble. I mean, like, enough already. Yeah, Levy, I'm sorry that you have to put up with this, but there's only one person that I can think of that comes up with this subject all the time, and we both know who that is. And she comes in here under a different name every week. And I just can't seem to get it through her thick head that she's not welcome here. And, I've banned her under 5 different names, and she keeps popping back in here. Now, she'll come back next week as somebody else. And I guarantee you, right now she's, on a 300-second timeout. It's the best I can do under the circumstances. So if she comes back in for the timeout, I'm going to put her right back out again. Yeah, because it gets to a point where it's a little bit silly. I mean, it's like these people are kindergartners. Well, I don't know. I think kindergartners have more sense than these people. Yeah, but they come where they're not wanted. It's weird. I mean, they block me from their social media accounts, and yet they come into mine. It's amazing. They've got BitChute, they've got blogs, they've got Twitter, they got all these accounts, and yet they choose this chat. It's weird. Strange bunch of people. This is what I want, and I finally got the image I wanted. No, I don't want to email it. God, just save the image. Yeah, I may run over just a little bit because I should have gone to this site and gotten this thing. Image. But I want this up here so people can look at it on the recorded version. But this is the receipt that they present on here. And what you find on here is, now for whatever reason, they redacted the cashier ID number, which is what the agent looked at. And she says, why is that deleted? And this down here was deleted. And the clerk told me without this information, they can't confirm this. And she did the check of the federal database and found out that there is nothing for 2020. So whatever this receipt is, it's either forged or it has nothing to do with what the task force wrote about. So there's something going on here. They are lying, and they are using this receipt to prove something that's not true. How did they get their hands on this receipt? This is an E-clause generated receipt. It's rather inconvenient that these people had this receipt 2 weeks before the man was murdered. So, it's something, as I close this show out, to think about. Why is it that they had this receipt? Why is it that they refused to talk about this receipt? I have asked question after question of essentially Nimpo, who was supposed to have an inside track, it would seem, to all these people, yet they will not answer the question. They avoid the question. and they try to knock us off track. They do this every week. So, I would ask that you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, and stay tuned. I will see if there's anything worth doing a mobile-thon about tomorrow, and we will continue through the week on mobile-thons. Yeah, I would like you to answer. I'll run over time. Where did this receipt come from, and how did they get a hold of it? Can you answer that? You know, I wanted you to answer questions for the last 3 hours, and you wouldn't stay on topic. That's why I booted you. You're welcome to subscribe. You know, it's easy to do. You just you just hit the subscribe button. But if you're going to come in here, you're not going to disrupt this room. Now, I'm having buffering problems, so if you're not hearing me, it's because of the buffering. You know, I'm reading everything you're posting. So. Alright. I asked the question. Do you know where this receipt came from? Do you know how they came in possession of this receipt? There is no such thing as the task force. The task force is a fraud. There is no paperwork filed with the United States government, with the General Services Administration, or the Accountability Office in regards to E-Clause. They have no affiliation whatsoever with the federal government. And if he answers to Randy, Randy is not affiliated with the federal government. The Pentagon Pedophile Task Force is a fraud. And if he answers to Randy, he's acting as a lawyer, or was acting as a lawyer, and he was violating the law. So if he was still alive, he would eventually have wound up in jail. So you're telling me that Chris Hallett gave this receipt to Randy Lynn Erickson. And why won't they produce the case number that this document refers to? No, they do not. Chris Hallett and Kirk Pendergrass do not audit for the federal government. They do not have a contract. No one has produced a contract with the government. He is described as a defense contractor. Where is the defense contract? It's a fraud. They have no affiliation with Congress. I have spoken to people at the General Services Administration. I've talked to people at the General Accountability Office, and they have no record of any contact or contract with E-Clause or the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. I have talked to people in the Pentagon. They have no information at all on E-Clause or the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. Wire fraud. There is no... So you're saying that they are filing false charges against Jeremiah Reagan and Levi Page. This is a violation of federal law, and if that's the case, then charges will be brought against Randy Lynn Erickson because she is running a fraudulent agency. And I have screen captured your statement to that effect. So I now have documented proof that Randy Lynn Erickson is committing wire fraud thanks to this nympho person. This set of this will be handed over to the authorities investigating the actions of. Okay, I'm going to start right here where it's Chris was doing work for the task force, and I'm going to take it right down to Jeremiah Reagan. And for a second time, and just to show you proof that this is now a matter of record that will be sent to the federal authorities, because this is a public room and you stated publicly these things. Let's see if this comes up right. I did 2 of these because I want to make sure. Okay, there it is in black and white, folks. We have a confession to committing a fraud. This is a violation of federal law right here. Too late, Nympho. I screen recorded it. There it is, folks. You know, what I just put up here. So, you know, if you're going to come in here and you're going to make incriminating statements, be prepared, because now it's recorded. And this, you know, I'm going to send this to, and you know, a copy of this is going to be sent to Levi so he can use it in any criminal complaint that he wants to make. And the same is true of Jeremiah. I'll send it through somebody that knows Jeremiah Reagan, and this can be used by them to file criminal complaints against Randy, because you are a material witness for Randy. So this is something, you know, and this is not the first time I've done this. This is the first time I've demonstrated that I do it. But every time one of you people come in here and make these statements, I screen cap them before you can delete them. Yeah. Because it's you know, because this is what happened right here. From here on down, because let's say, because that's your dinner tab, that was the, okay, let's go over here. But you forgot one. So I guess this is a good way to close this show out, guys. We now have documented proof with witnesses that essentially Nympho is declaring that Randy is using E-clause in an attempt to make false prosecution of Levi Page and Jeremiah Reagan. This is a felony. I generally go live every Friday, Levi, and I do mobile-thons during the week. So Friday, 9 p.m., I will be back on the air. And if something comes up in the meantime, I may go on the air then. Now, just so you folks know who have Twitter accounts, I will be doing tests during the day, during the week, on Twitter, doing live mobile streams. I've done a couple of these so far. They're on Twitter. I'm going directly to Twitter, not through Periscope, because they're just test streams. I'm just trying to get the cameras worked out and all that. So you're welcome to tune into that. Generally between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I do these, and basically all it is me driving down to the airport with nothing in particular going on. Do like and subscribe, share, click the notification button. I'll keep everybody noted if anything comes up. Yeah, if the drum washes up or a suitcase washes up with him in it, I'll let anybody know. Any developments that come up on all these cases, I'll let everybody know. It looks like I'm going to have to keep checking the boards more often, because if it hadn't have been for somebody tipping me off, I wouldn't have known about the stuff with Field McConnell today. Apparently this paperwork was filed yesterday. Well, it's now into the 12th, so the paperwork was filed on the 10th. So we got 12/12/20, and pretty soon we're going to have 12/12/21. So 12/12/20. Interesting. So, okay, now that I've run over a few minutes, essentially basically got busted and ran off. Thank you again for tuning in. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mark Witness 1. Have a good one and good night.